Shannon Sharp is being sued for $50 million, a lawsuit from a woman he was dating in private. This is Fresh Hiphop Opinion with your guy Olize. Don't forget to subscribe. So yes, $50 million lawsuit from an OF girl. I'll put it like that. Many people are saying this is a money grab because she did not go to the police, but instead she went to a lawyer. And this comes around the time Shannon Sharp was negotiating a multi-million-dollar deal. Whether it's through a podcast or TV situation, I'm not sure, but it's not great timing. But of course TMZ were on this, and this is what they said in their write-up. Shannon Sharp has been sued for allegedly raping a woman on multiple occasions, and the plaintiff in this case is asking for tens of millions in damages. The lawsuit obtained by TMZ Sports was filed by Jane Doe on Sunday in Nevada after she says Sharp brutally SA'd her several times at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025 following a years-long abusive relationship. According to the suit, Doe met Sharp in 2023 at a gym in Los Angeles when she was 20 years old and he was in his mid-50s. She stated in the docs during their first encounter, Sharp told her he would buy her fake ones if she won a weight loss competition with him. She wrote in the suit, Sharp proceeded to pursue her relentlessly, calling, texting, and demanding she come to his Beverly Glen mansion. The woman stated she and the former Denver Broncos tight end ultimately got into a consensual relationship, though she described it as controlling and verbally abusive. He demanded complete control over her time and body. Attorney Tony Busby wrote in Doe's suit, expecting her to be at his house on his schedule, at his command whenever he called. Doe claimed there was an argument in particular that terrified her when he yelled at her while a firearm was visible in the room. Plaintiff tried sharing her location with friends from her phone, just in case, the docs state. But Sharp saw her doing this. The moment he realized what she was doing, he grabbed her by the neck and told her, if you ever do that again, I will effing kill you. The two nevertheless continued their relationship, even following a move by both to Nevada during the summer of 2024. However, Doe states in her suit she attempted to break things off after his infamous Instagram live streaming incident, which she said led to him raping her. Doe claimed in her suit the first instance happened in October 2024 at her apartment. She said the 56-year-old Pro Football Hall of Famer forced himself on her while she was crying and sobbing. The second instance, the suit alleges, happened a few weeks later in January 2025. Doe claims Sharp came over to her house and promises of delivering a Christmas and birthday gift to her, but instead violently sexually assaulted her once more. She's suing for over $50 million. And this next part comes from Tony Busby, her lawyer. It takes a great deal of courage to stand up against those with power, fame, and money, Busby said in a statement after filing the suit on Doe's behalf. I look forward to pressing the case in court. We've reached out to Sharp for comment in the case, but so far no word back yet. So generally when people see Tony Busby's name, especially after the whole P. Diddy Jay-Z allegations, they all look at it a little bit side-eye, like this might be a money grab for real. Which is a shame because there could be a genuine victim in the situation, but Busby's name is so in the dirt right now, in the mud, everybody looks at him in a bit of a skeptical fashion now. And furthermore, why it's a shock is that Shannon Sharp just seems like a good guy, and at his big age doing all this salacious stuff, it's kind of shocking. But Shannon Sharp was not gonna take this lying down or in any other position. He released some very damaging messages and exposes the Jane Doe, her name and everything, in these explicit text messages. And then it says the lawsuit filed by Gabriella Zeninga and orchestrated by her attorney Tony Busby is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharp for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed. In her effort to extract a large financial settlement, Ms. Zeninga presented Mr. Sharp with a secretly recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter. We believe the video has been heavily edited and taken entirely out of context, crafted to falsely portray a consensual act as non-consensual. Ms. Zeninga has refused to provide a copy of the full, unedited version of the recording to Mr. Sharp's legal team. To set the record straight, we are releasing several of Ms. Zeninga's own explicit text messages to Mr. Sharp that clearly indicate the nature of their relationship was consensual and sexual in nature, and in many cases initiated by her with specific and graphic requests. Contrary to the allegations she makes in her lawsuit, consensual sex continued until January 2nd, 2025, the day after she asked for $25,000 per cheek, as quoted above from her text message to Mr. Sharp. There are other examples of text from Ms. Zeninga, for example, but there's a lot of explicit messages here saying that she wants him to put a baby in her, what she's trying to do to him, and it gets really explicit. I ain't even gonna read it, okay? But these messages range from like November 2023 to about summertime 24 last year. It carries on saying the evidence paints a sexual communications initiated by Ms. Zeninga. The evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by Ms. Zeninga. The edited tape that Ms. Zeninga secretly taped and showed to Mr. Sharp during her blackmail attempt tries to falsely portray a result of this editing and out of context from prior text messages that the sexual activity was not consensual. But Mr. Sharp now believes her secret taping was all part of her planned setup as part of her blackmail scheme, as distorted by her edited tape, a copy of which she refused to make available to Mr. Sharp or his counsel. Mr. Sharp categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the gross lie of rape, and will not submit to what he sees as an egregious attempt at blackmail. He stands firmly by the truth and is prepared to fight these false claims vigorously in court. He looks forward to vindication through due process and a judgment based on the facts and the law. Yeah, fam. She sounds like a piece of work, just as bad as Tony Busby. But let me hold my judgment till this whole evidence comes out, because it's kind of crazy. Why would she have an edited version of their encounter? Why would you edit it out? Why would it not be in its full, natural way it was recorded if there wasn't some sort of ploy or plan preempted? It's not looking good for her anyway on the terms of a public perception. And Shannon Sharp wasn't done there either. He released a video statement stating that he is innocent of all these allegations, will fight tooth and nail to clear his name.
This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about, and I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do.
Yeah, fam. Even going at Tony Busby. I think this is the signs of the times. People are trying to get on the side of the public instead of just keeping quiet. Normally back in the day, you have these type of accusations, you keep everything within. But people are trying to go public, discredit Tony Busby and discredit the female before it even hits the court. I don't believe I've ever seen the accuser's name being released. They're always kept anonymous throughout, even past the judgment. I've always believed if you can release the name of the person being accused, then the person making the accusations should be put out there as well, particularly if they lose the case. But in this case, it hasn't actually started. But I've never seen this before, I'll tell you that's for sure. But Tony Busby was not gonna take all this public slander lying down either. He responded. He said this: on the one hand, Mr. Sharp and his lawyers claim the case filed by Jane Doe is meritless. Yet on the other hand, they now have disclosed that Mr. Sharp offered Jane Doe $10 million in writing not to file her lawsuit. This is a true statement. Jane Doe was in fact offered $10 million to settle, but rejected the offer, choosing instead to proceed with litigation. Sharp's team is now trying to discredit and dox her. Sharp and his team are now, as anticipated, also attacking me. We are not going to be deterred by these tactics. I mean, I've never seen lawyers coming out making statements like this, defending themselves and almost going tit for tat with each other. Like, this is meant to be all done in a court of law. It's like they're trying to win the public's approval before they actually hit the court. Because what the public believe really doesn't matter too much, but these days it seems to be having much more of an influence than back in the day. But Busby said he expected the backlash. Of course he did. Jay-Z got him in some hot water. I don't think he can even practice in New York. The fact that Shannon Sharp offered $10 million to settle before this went public is not really an admission of guilt either. Loads of people get sued, and instead of taking it to court and drawing it out and spending loads of money on lawyer fees, they do like to just settle outside of court just so the issue just goes away. It doesn't actually mean they've done the things that they've been accused of. But I know for a lot of people that don't understand that, they will look at that as he must be guilty because he tried to pay her off before it went public. Busby, Lil Busby Badass, has also reacted to all this Shannon Sharp allegations. He said this: she heard he was about to get that 100 million. I'm sick of these O's, and they be knowing they can probably get a couple million to make it go away. Y'all making it bad for women and men. Successful men gonna be scared to talk to women. Shake my head. I'm sick of y'all broke P.O.s taking this route to get money. Go to San Francisco, meet some tech guys, sell your P, and get rich. You know Boosie's gotta come with his sudden comedic outbursts. Go to a tech guy, you know. But then Boosie wasn't done though. He said, y'all gonna learn about sticking y'all feet in that snow. LOL. And obviously we know what that metaphor really means. But by no means is this a comedic matter. Shannon Sharp is facing some serious allegations. Obviously it does look like a money grab at the moment, but nevertheless it's something that will tarnish your reputation, and it's really no joke. Shannon Sharp is taking a break or stepping back from ESPN after the sexual assault and battery case has either been resolved or blows over. It's been a mad week for the guy, man. The Hall of Famer, Club Shay Shay, after an OF professional exposed him for his freaky self. Text messages have been leaked. Accusations have been made. And Tony Busby's in the middle of it. The lawyer that was representing that case that Jay-Z was accused of doing those obscene things. But Shannon Sharp came out with this statement, saying this: my statement is found here and is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, fans, friends, and colleagues. Shannon Sharp. But one colleague that definitely is not supporting Shannon Sharp is Stephen A. Smith. Man, he went online and you can just tell these two did not get along. Or it wasn't real anyway. Because Stephen A. Smith went online, he was talking about, with his puppy dog eyes, how basically this could be the end of Shannon. We gotta wait for due process. There's a lot of evidence that Shannon made a bad move for exposing the text messages. Pretty much talking like Shannon Sharp is guilty, without actually saying it. Maybe he knows some information that we don't know. And it's a stark contrast to how Stephen A. Smith addressed the Jay-Z rumors just a few months ago. He defended Jay-Z like that was his lady. He was standing by Jay-Z as if they were besties, saying that he's known Jay-Z for 25 years. You might have known Jay-Z for 25 years, but how many times are you on the phone with Jay-Z, hanging out with Jay-Z? I'm sure he's spent more time with Shannon Sharp in 1 week than he's ever spent with Jay-Z in 25 years. But obviously keeping Jay-Z on side makes more sense for your whole professional career than Shannon Sharp. Although Shannon Sharp is a big fish as well, but he's not a Jay-Z fish. You know what I'm saying. A lot of people are talking about Shannon Sharp's getting what he deserves. There's been a lot of videos and audio exposed online that shows that we shouldn't have been too surprised that Shannon Sharp is into young females. There's even one clip of him clowning the comedian that used to be on the Chappelle show, because he likes dating girls in their 20s. But Shannon Sharp, I mean, this girl allegedly was about 19, and Shannon Sharp's like 55, 56 years old, man. She's almost young enough to be your granddaughter. Although she's a few shades too light to be your granddaughter, if you know what I'm saying. But Busby's commented on it, Mace and Cameron have commented on it. And in my opinion, look, evidence does look like it's a shakedown, especially when Tony Busby's involved. But should a 56-year-old man be dating a 20-year-old? And it's not like he had her in the public. He kept it on the low. So you already know he knows that it wasn't a good look. It looks a bit weird for someone of that age to be dealing with someone 19 or 20. Like, what are you actually going to be speaking about? Or is it right down to the bedroom action, if you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, look, she wasn't complaining. So to each his own, really. He's not doing anything illegal, but it just looks a bit too much. The age gap is way, way crazy. I did hear academics showing some support for Shannon Sharp though, that he's not done. He's got too many fans and followers for him to be done. But in terms of the big corporations, if he's found guilty of whatever she is accusing him of, all those big $100 million deals may be something of the past for Shannon Sharp. It's almost like there's two battles he's trying to win: the court of public opinion and the court of law. Because releasing all these messages and releasing her face and trying to expose her as a liar to the public is just so we don't look at him, Shannon Sharp, like he's a monster. Because all this doesn't matter in terms of the court. All that legal stuff hasn't even really started, the serious stuff. So, and that's what really matters. That's what will determine whether he loses $50 million or doesn't lose anything. In my opinion, Tony Busby, the text messages that Shannon Sharp exposed, it all just looks like a money grab. We'll see when the evidence comes out, all of it. But hopefully the judge sees through it if it is that. But that's an update of the Shannon Sharp situation. He's been accused of sexual assault and is being sued for $50 million. Names have been leaked. Accusations have been made. Where it goes next, I'll keep you updated. I want to know what you think. Get in the comments. Don't be shy. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And for less than $2, you could join the membership. Just hit join. See exclusive content from this channel. This is Fresh Hip Hop Opinion. Peace and love.